Okay, we are live, and I'll wait for maybe a couple of minutes before we start. The agenda for discussion is definitely discussing about the global data landscape right now in terms of what should be done in generating that revenue for the service model, particularly in respect of India, not only India perhaps, but the overall landscape of how um, a part of these stakeholders are talking about intellectual property rights, but I would be touch basing on a couple of things, and let's wait for a couple of minutes before we start. Okay, first of all, today in India, particularly, we live in a land or this particular piece of land. It's not a country of one tribe. It's a nation which is part of, or this particular piece of land has undergone so much in last maybe historical data set maybe 300 plus years or 400 plus years perhaps. But if we just look into the data set, 15th August is approaching, and where do we stand in terms of anything and everything? um, when this land got so-called independence, the lawmaking and everything was done in a fashion where uh, the stakeholders had to abide by a lot of stuff. India didn't have the courage at that point of time to even think what could be done, but India had the courage to do a lot of things in a manner which was suitable in that era. If we go back to the data set, it's very clear that this whole landscape of the division between this land, Pakistan, Bangladesh, this divided the country on the piece of land. And till date, some of the political MPs still talk about and try to divide this land the way they want to. Perhaps the good thing is our current PM, in all respects, has acknowledged technology, which is very important. We always, and I always have been very vocal about it, that we cannot blame the government. We cannot blame the state government. What we can do is change our own ethos and just try to align with what is important in terms of living a purposeful life. When you are able to embrace this whole understanding, you will get that clarity that, hey, there's something called as sustainable development goals. There is pollution of plastic. This is another pollution. There is noise pollution, there is air pollution, and the others. Perhaps people, a lot of folks have been talking about the air pollution in Delhi. um, Honestly speaking, they have no cognizance of their own particular states in terms of the pollution level they have, in terms of the honking and all that stuff. Delhi never belonged to one particular community. When Delhi was formed, it was basically outsiders from all over. They came and they got that whatever negotiations were being done at the WTO level, that is World Trade Organization. um, that happened, and because of that, you have these places called as model town. Then perhaps central Delhi always has been Connaught Place, but at the same point of time, we like it or not, we have to look into the data set of the malice or the wrong discussions which happened over the years just in the name of making few parties richer, and not seeing the fact that this should not have been built at the first place itself. I'll give you a very simple example. We have been seeing a lot of earthquakes in Delhi recently, and the Richter scale, which was perhaps the lost um, earthquake which happened, was perhaps just uh, the epicenter was just about 4 kilometers from where I stay. The point of contention here is Connaught Place is almost 13 or 14 kilometers from my place. Not the shortest possible route, but general route is around 12 to 13 kilometers. Now, when this whole understanding of development was happening, without taking the expert advice, it is said, and this is hearsay, I mean, you have to get in the data set and look into it, because I meet a lot of stakeholders on a global basis, whether they are Indian origin or from outside origin. It was very clear that metro should not be built in Connaught Place because it's central, and particularly maybe because of whatever the seismic and whatever the ongoing data set was, that it will make the structure weak. See, we in India we have basic laws. Then there are a lot of acts. Acts means bare acts, perhaps. According to the bare acts, even all these poles which are in Delhi. I'm just talking about Delhi right now. All these poles, you cannot have these hoardings, which is not allowed. There is so much which is not allowed, but still, all the political parties are having that. People are paying money just to get their advertisement on these poles. So perhaps it's very clear at the outset that lawmaking is one aspect, but how it is employed to get from point A to point B is a question the stakeholders need to answer, and particularly in this case, it will be Delhi government right now. Now, what has happened is, if you just go back into the data set, because I work in intellectual property rights, I'm in a position to talk about it, seeing that data set. Now, this is a real data set. This is not a hearsay, because I do a lot of research work and I have been into research for more than 20 years now. Perhaps on the patenting database, there are a lot of database they don't exist for normal people to even review it. Those have been deleted from the www web. Now, according to that, a lot of innovations have been done in the air pollution sector, particularly HEPA filters and all. And those innovations are particularly I worked upon were somewhere 2008 to 2011. And since they have to be, utilized, so everybody started talking about pollution, this and that, whatnot. Now, it is always to